Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Inshallah ta'ala, everybody can hear me well. Hopefully the connection and everything is good before we start rolling. Bi'idhnillah. So we'll continue, inshallah ta'ala, our classes and our lessons on the explanation and commentary of Bulughul Maram. And we're still in Kitab al-Raj'ah, the taking back of one's zawj or one's zawja from the iddah period and the rulings that pertain to that. Recommencing the normal marital life. Raj'ah, taking back, right? We are in Babul Ila'i wal Zihari wal Kafarati. We're in the section of Al-Ilah, Al-Zihar, and Al-Kafara. Al-Ilah, we explained what that meant. Al-Zihar as well. And Al-Kafara, the expiation, or the fee, or the fine, the penalty. One is responsible for paying for when he wishes to take his wife out of that type of divorce. The Ilah divorce, or the Raj'ah divorce, etc. All of those rulings. So this is the last hadith of the chapter. The author, Hafidh bin Hajar, may Allah be pleased with him, he says, وعن سلمة بن صخر رضي الله عنه قال دخل رمضان فخفت أن أصيب امرأتي فظاهرت منها فانكشف لي شيء منها ليلة فوقعت عليها فقال لي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حرر رقبة فقلت ما أملك إلا رقبتي قال فصم شهرين متتابعين قلت وهل أصبت الذي أصبت إلا من الصيام قال أطعم فرقا من تمر 60 مسكينا أخرجه أحمد والأربعة إلا النسائي وصحه ابن خزيمة وابن الجارود. Hadith states, in the English translation, in Hadith 935, is narrated Salama bin Sakhr radiyallahu anhu. When the month of Ramadan came, I feared lest I would have intercourse with my wife. So I vowed that she was like my mother. But one night something of her was uncovered to me, and I had intercourse with her. Allah's Messenger ﷺ afterwards said to me, set a slave free. And I replied, I do not possess anyone. He said, then fast 2 consecutive months. I replied, was the calamity by which I had been smitten due to anything but fasting? He said, feed 60 poor people with an araq, basket of dates. Ahmed and al-Arba'ah, except an-Nasa'i, reported it. Ibn Khuzaymah and Ibn al-Jarud graded it sound. So the hadith here is narrated by this Sahabi, Salama, the son of Sakhr, who said that Ramadan was coming. And I'm afraid and I'm scared. I became afraid that I wouldn't be able to control my sexual desires. I'm not going to be able to stay away from my wife during Ramadan, meaning the daytime. So I put up a shield or a barrier. I tried to protect myself from falling victim to my sexual desires, and that was to declare my wife haram. You to me are like my mother's back, my mother's leg. I can't touch my mother sexually, intimately, nor can I touch you. But one night, a part of her was shown to me. Her hair, her neck, her hands, her feet, her legs, something of her private area, somewhere, somehow, I saw. فَوَقَعْتُ عَلَيْهَا, and I fell upon her. I jumped on her. I had intercourse with her. Therefore, the Messenger of Allah, alayhi salatu wasalam, he informed me that there's something that I have to do. There's something I have to fix and make up. And the first thing was Harir Raqaba, free a neck. Literal translation, The man said, only neck I own is my own. The only neck that I possess is my own. I don't have a slave. I'm not rich. I'm not wealthy. I have no one serving me, just myself. And then the Messenger of Allah, he told him to fast 2 months back to back, 60 days, 59 days, etc. And the man said, the only reason why I fell into this pit, this problem, was because of my weakness to fast, because of my sexual desires. And that's when the Messenger of Allah, he gave him the final solution, which was to take a box of dates and to give that box of dates as charity to poor people. And that amount of poor people is 60 poor people with a large basket or box or crate of dates. And this hadith is collected by these hadith compilers: Imam Abu Dawood, Imam Tirmidhi, Imam Ibn Majah, Imam Ahmed, and other scholars who wrote books on zihar, such as Ibn Khuzaymah, Ibn al-Jarud, and Muntaqa, etc. They graded the hadith to be sound, to be an authentic hadith. Okay, so that's the general gist of the hadith. And as far as the fawaid that pertain to the hadith and the fiqh issues that pertain to this hadith, first and foremost, he says, As-Sanani rahimahullah ta'ala, هو البياضي بفتح الموحدة وتخفيف المثنات التحتية وضاد معجمة أنصاري خزرجي كان أحد البكائين روى عنه سليمان بن يسار وابن المسيب قال البخاري لا يصح حديثه يعني هذا الذي في الظهار. So the Sahabi is named Salama, the son of Sakhr. And for the Tulab al-Ilm, when you're reading these books, what's meant by these words and these terms, بفتح الموحدة وتخفيف المثنات التحتية وضاد معجمة, is that the scholars in the past, a jim, a ha, and a kha was written the same way. That's it. No nuqta in the middle, no nuqta on top. Period. So what would distinguish a ha from a jim or a kha? A sin and a sheen, a ta and a tha, a ta and a dha, a ayn and a ghayn, right? A fa and a qaf, okay? A ba, a ta, a ya, etc. So the scholars of hadith, they had memorized the names, the words, but they, in the different commentaries or the footnotes or the explanatory notes, or even sometime in the text, they would write certain codes, certain words. And from that is mu'jama, which means there's a dot, i'jam. Takhfif, meaning it's not mushaddad, right? Tahtiya, the 2 dots are on the bottom, not above, etc. Right? طيب. What's important is he is Bayadi and he is Ansari, Khazraji. He's from Medina, from the tribe and the clan of the Khazraj, from the Ansar. And he was a man who cried a lot. كان من البكائين. From his students and disciples was Sulaiman ibn Yasar, Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib, meaning from the best of the Salaf al-Salih were his students. And obviously a scholar, a man's knowledge, there are many ways of grading and ranking it. And from that is the quality and the quantity of those who narrate from him, those who learned from him, his students. Once again, the quality, 1 or 2, no more, strong students, talented, skilled students, 10, 20 top-notch students, all have come from his school, from his chair, from his feet. That means a lot. Just like there are other ways, such as books, so on and so forth. Moving forward, Imam al-Bukhari, rahimahullah ta'ala, he was of the opinion that this hadith is not sahih. It does not fulfill the conditions of an acceptable hadith. So there's difference of opinion among the ulama on hadith with regards to, is this hadith sound or unsound? Khairan inshallah ta'ala, moving forward. قال دخل رمضان فخفت أن أصيب امرأتي وفي الإرشاد قال إني كنت رجلا أصيب من النساء ما لا يصيب غيري. He says that there's another version or another part of this statement when he says دخل رمضان يعني كاد رمضان أن يدخل. Ramadan was about to enter. And he says, and I was afraid that I would fall victim to being with women. It says that he said, وَكُنْتُ رَجُلًا, I was a man, أُصِيبُ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ مَا لَا يُصِيبُ غَيْرِي, who had a very, very high sex drive. I had a great deal of passion and lust, desire for women. أُصِيبُ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ مَا لَا يُصِيبُ غَيْرِي. I would go to women like none other, like no other. Okay? This is what he said about himself. Khair inshallah. Moving forward, Sanani rahimahullah, he says more about the authenticity or lack of authenticity of this hadith. وقد عاله عبد الحق بالانقطاع بين سليمان بن يسار وسلمة لأن سليمان لم يدرك سلمة حكى ذلك الترمذي عن البخاري وفي الحديث مسائل. He speaks on why this narration isn't necessarily sahih according to Al-Bukhari and others, and that is that there is inqita' or irsal khafi, okay, or there's something missing, the chain is not continuous. Moving forward, the hadith has proven several things, several masail, several fiqh issues, and to simplify and to summarize, the main lesson from this hadith is what must be given or paid for the kafara of zihar. A man breaking, violating what he did what he wasn't supposed to. He wasn't supposed to say that his wife was like his mother's back. That's first and foremost. Secondly, he is not allowed to go to his wife and be intimate with his wife. He can't just change his mind and says, you know what, that's munkar min al-qawli wa zur, that's false, that's fake, that's not true. My mother isn't my wife isn't my mother. Come here, honey, baby, come, my wife. La. He must expiate for that falsity that he made or he uttered. He has to fix that before he goes back to his wife. Okay? So the first issue, he says, أنه دل على ما دلت عليه الآية من ترتيب خصال الكفارة وترتيب إجماع بين العلماء. First and foremost, the hadith goes hand in hand with the ayah in the Quran that speaks on the kafara. The kafara has to be in order, has to be prioritized. A man is not allowed to feed 60 people before he does something else. Rather, manumission. Rather, after that, the fasting of 2 consecutive months. And if not, then, etc., 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 etc. Tartib, the order. Number 2, الثانية أنها أطلقت الرقبة في الآية وفي الحديث أيضا لم تقيد ولم تقيد بالإيمان كما قيدت به في آية القتل، فاختلف العلماء في ذلك، فذهب زيد ابن علي وأبو حنيفة وغيرهما إلى عدم التقييد وأنها تجزئ رقبة ذمية، وقالوا لا تقيد بما في الآية القتل لاختلاف السبب. وقد أشار الزمخشري إلى عدم اعتبار القياس لعدم الاشتراك في العلة، فإن المناسبة في آية القتل أنه لما أخرج رقبة مؤمنة من صفة الحياة إلى صفة الموت كانت كفارة إدخال رقبة مؤمنة في حياة الحرية وإخراجه عن موت الرقي إلى آخره. طيب. He says the second issue is that the hadith does not restrict the slave that has to be manumitted. It doesn't state that the slave has to be a believer, a Muslim slave, but it says raqaba, a neck, anyone that is owned. So the scholars of Islam take 2 main views. They differ, and this is similar to the concept of the types of murder or manslaughter, right? That's mentioned in the Quran in Surah An-Nisa with regards to the diya, the blood money, and with regards to manumitting a slave and how the slave has to be a Muslim, has to be a believer. Here it doesn't mention that, and there are different views, he says, with regards to this. Moving forward, and that's the summary of that. الثالثة, the third issue. اختلف العلماء في الرقبة المعيبة بأي عيب، فقالت الهدوية وداود تجزئ المعيبة لتناول اسم الرقبة لها، وذهب آخرون إلى عدم إجزاء المعيبة قياسا على الهدايا والضحايا بجامع التقرب إلى الله، وفصل الشافعي فقال إن كانت كاملة المنفعة كالأعور أجزأت ونقصت منافعه لم تجز، إذا كان كذلك ينقصها نقصانا ظاهرا كالأقطع والأعمى، إذ الإتق تمليق المنفعة وقد نقصت وللحنفية تفاصيل في العيب يطول تعدادها ويعز قيام الأدلة عليها. The third issue is the scholars of Islam differ on manumitting a slave that has problems. Something's wrong with the slave, such as the slave is blind, or the slave, his hand has been cut off, or hands are cut off, or amputated, or born without a hand, or born without a foot. The slave can't work, the slave can't serve. So is a Muslim allowed to manumit this type of slave for this offense? Or does the slave have to be perfect? Or if there's an aib, is minimum, such as the slave has bad eyesight, or something's wrong with one of their eyes or something, versus the slave can't see. Everyone understand this? So there are different details with regards to that. الرابعة أن قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم فصم شهرين متتابعين دال على وجوب التتابع وعليه دلت الآية وشرطت أن تكون قبل اللمس أو قبل المس فلو مس فيهما استأنف وهو إجماع إذا وطئها نهارا متعمدا وكذلك ليلا عند الهدوية وأبي حنيفة وآخرين ولو ناسيا للآية وذهب الشافعي وأبو يوسف إلى أنه لا يضر ويجوز لأن علة النهي إفساد الصوم ولا إفساد بوطء الليل وأجيب بأن الآية عامة. The fourth issue is the hadith clearly says fast 2 consecutive months. And this proves that the months must be consecutive, back to back, as it states in the ayah. And the ayah also stipulates as that this must be done before the man touches his wife again. He's not allowed to sleep with her until he has tasted the bitterness of those 2 months back to back without no intercourse. Moving forward, if a man touches his wife, it's that nefa. Then he has to start the count again. So just imagine that. Person is fasting. There are 2 days left in the month for the second month. He sleeps with her. He has to go back to the first month. Don't get yourself in that jammed up situation by saying false things. Your wife is not your mother. Your mother is not your wife. Bottom line. Stay away from falsehood. You won't have to suffer. Moving forward, he says here, if a man intentionally has intercourse with his wife during the daytime, and others, they say at night, even if it's accidental, etc. There are details with regards to that. What's important is he's not to touch her, period. Moving forward, السادسة أن ترتيب قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم فصم على قول السائل ما أملك إلا رقبتي يقضي بما قضت بالآية من أنه لا ينتقل إلى الصوم إلا لعدم وجدان الرقبة فإن وجد الرقبة إلا أنه يحتاجها لخدمته للعجز فإنه لا يصح منه الصوم. The sixth issue is that there is, once again, a person is not allowed to avoid manumitting a slave unless they can't find. Then they go to the fasting, and if they can't fast, then they go to the feeding. Moving forward, السابعة أن النص القرآني والنبوي صريح في إطعام 60 مسكينا كأنه جعل عن كل يوم من الشهرين إطعام مسكين واختلف العلماء هل لا بد من إطعام 60 مسكينا أو يكفي إطعام مسكين واحد 60 يوما. The issue, or the seventh issue, is that the Quran is clear and the Hadith is clear, is that one must feed 60 people. And the wisdom behind this is, he says perhaps due to the fact that a man had to fast 2 consecutive months, which in most cases is going to be 60 days, 58 days, 59 days, he said that every day that he's not fasting, he's feeding a poor person. So feed 60 poor people. If you can't, fast 2 months back to back. Moving forward, the scholars of Islam, they differ. Does a man have to feed 60 poor individuals, or can he feed 1 poor person 60 days? Moving forward, الثامنة اختلف في قدر الإطعام لكل مسكين فذهبت الهدوية والحنفية إلى أن الواجب 60 صاعا من تمر أو ذرة أو شعير أو نصفه من بر وذهب الشافعي إلى أن الواجب لكل مسكين مد والمد ربع الصاع. And then the 8th issue is the scholars differ on how much food must be offered. One view is that 60 sa' of dates, corn, meal, barley, that type of dry grain, or half of that, meaning 30 sa' of wheat, whole wheat. And other scholars, they say every day has to be a mud. A mud. What's important is, in our current times, if a person is going to need a poor person for any type of kafara, breastfeeding, or whatever the case may be, feed the poor people a basic, simple meal. A basic, humble meal. Wallahu a'lam. التاسعة في الحديث دليل على أن الكفارة لا تسقط جميع أنواعها بالعجز وفيه خلاف فذهب الشافعي وأحد الروايتين عن أحمد إلى عدم سقوطها بالعجز لما في حديث داود عن خولة بنت مالك بن ثعلبة قالت ظهر مني زوجي أوس بن الصامت إلى أن قال لها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى آخره. If a person can't do anything, does he still have to pay later on, or are they exempt from it? The 9th or the 10th issue from this hadith, قال الخطابي دل الحديث على أن الظهار المقيد كالظهار المطلق وهو إذا ظاهر من امرأته إلى مدة ثم أصاب قبل انقضاء تلك المدة واختلفوا فيه إذا بر ولم يحنث فقال مالك وابن أبي ليلى إذا قال لامرأتي أنت علي كظهر أمي إلى الليل لازمته الكفارة وإن لم يقربها وقال أكثر أهل العلم لا شيء عليه إذا لم يقربها. The 10th point is with regards to absolute zihar versus conditional zihar. A man saying that his wife is to him like his mother's back, absolutely. Or a man says, you're to me like my mother's back until night, until tomorrow, until next week. All right? And if a man keeps his word and he doesn't go to her until the nighttime, he doesn't have to pay kafara, or he does, etc. Fa'ida. Those are the 10 issues. And the last benefit that he mentions from this hadith, قد يتوهم أن سبب نزول آية الظهار حديث سلمة هذا لاتفاق الحكمين في الآية والحديث وليس كذلك بل سبب نزولها قصة أوس بن الصامت ذكره ابن كثير في الإرشاد من حديث خويلة بنت ثعلبة قالت في والله وفي أوس أنزل الله سورة المجادلة قالت كنت عنده وكان شيخا كبيرا قد ساء خلقه وقد ضجر. He says it seems as if this verse or this hadith is the reason why those verses were sent down from Surah Al-Mujadilah, but that's not the case. Rather, they were sent down concerning Aws ibn al-Samit and Khuwaila bint Tha'laba. Now, with regards to قَدْ سَمِعَ اللَّهُ قَوْلَ الَّتِي, right? Allah hears the words of the woman who, to the end of the ayah, with regards to the man saying that his wife was like his mother's back. And the reason why Aws said that is that he was very old. Well, and his behavior became very bad in his later years. Wallahu ta'ala alam. What's important is that's the end of that chapter. The next section will be Babul Li'an, when a man accuses his wife of cheating on him and sleeping with another man, but he doesn't have the 4 witnesses to prove it. What's important is this hadith shows us, it gives us, sheds light on many things. One of those things that it sheds lights on is fiqhun nafs, knowing yourself, knowledge of self, know thyself. You got to keep it real with yourself if you know yourself. You know your desires are high and strong, don't play yourself. Stay away from the fitna. Stay away from the areas or the people or the activities that are going to incite you. And you know you don't have the strength and the control to say no, stay back. Versus a fool who says, nah, I got it. It's all good. I'm cool. I'm straight. She ain't even my type. Oh man, she's such and such. I ain't even worried about her. Oh, she's a kafir. Or no, I'll be all right. And he's not being real with himself. He isn't being honest with himself, knowing that he's weak and his desires are strong, and bang, Shaitan has you wrapped up in his lasso and you're stuck and you're jammed up. All right, so know yourself. The Sahabi clearly said, I had a high drive, high level of desire, so I know I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not even going to play myself, right? This hadith also goes to show that a man seeing a woman uncovered or dressed in a certain way is a reason behind his desires being incited. Now, we live in a world today in which there are different extremists and zealots. We live in a world in which there are people who blame everything on women. We live in a world in which People, men and women, blame nothing on women. A woman has no responsibility, no duty whatsoever. How she dresses, how she carries herself, she can wear whatever she wants. It can be sheer, it could be short, it can be tight. It doesn't matter. The man is responsible. The man is, he stop being a dog. Stop staring at women. Stop, control yourself. And a woman, she can wear anything she wants to work, down the street, to school, outside, show her entire body and figure. It's the man's fault. It's the man's problem. And then there are other men or women who blame everything on a woman. The woman is evil. The woman is a devil. The woman is like Eve in paradise. She tempted Adam with the snake and the apple, blah, 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 blah. This evil woman. And they relieve men from the moral responsibility of lowering the gaze, of avoiding the free mixing. All right? They say that the man, oh, she seduced my husband. She's a temptress. This devil temptress, huh? She's tempting you away from God, right? No, your husband wanted that woman. He went after that woman. He chased her. He chased her down. He ran down on her, and he fell upon her. You can't always blame the woman for your husband, right? So both sexes share responsibility. The man is responsible. The woman is also responsible. But the hadith clearly shows, he says, I saw a part of her body, and that aroused my desires. So the hadith proves that when a man sees a part of a woman's body, it's only natural for his desires to be stirred up. So what is the solution that Islam has provided for this natural problem, this law of nature? Man is to lower his gaze, turn away, fear Allah, be mindful of Allah, go to your wife, get married. And the woman is to cover up. The sexes are not supposed to be mixed and intermingled, right? Perfume, handshaking, chitter-chatter, flirting, joking, blah, 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 blah. Islam has provided the solution for all of those problems that the modern, Western, progressive, liberal world is suffering from. Me Too movement. This actor, this basketball player, this movie star, this producer, this teacher, this pastor, this one, he, me. Everybody's coming out of the closet now. And this president, he did this to me. He abused me. He raped me. He flirted with me. He touched me in an improper place, etc., etc., etc. Islam provides the solution for all of these problems, right? And it goes to show is that there's connection between the eye and the heart and the body parts. So men are supposed to do their job, and women are supposed to what? Do their job. But of course, we live in a time in which, people, they don't keep it real. Most of us are fake, phony, all right? We're talking some, modern, progressive 2.0 nonsense and not realizing that man today was man yesterday. It's no different. No matter what type of technology and rules and laws, and this is civil and civilized, the man is the same type of creature. And he has the same desires and passions on the inside. It's no difference. All right. So you got to keep it real. Right. And of course, this hadith, it also goes to show, as we said, is that there's not nothing wrong with a person having a high sex drive, high desires, as long as you protect yourself and you take the necessary precautions. And this hadith also goes to show us, as we've spoken on many times before, that the Messenger of Allah, ﷺ, he spoke on and he allowed several different companions, male and female, to talk about these types of issues. Not like the parents today, in which everything is taboo, hush, hush, shh, don't talk about that. Oh, that's lewd. You can't say that. The Muslims shouldn't. No, la. It's not the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. And with him is all success. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.